So I will say to start, welcome to the second episode of DataTalk, the podcast by UnimAI. So today I want to thank Nicola for the organization of this episode. He is one of our event guys. You will know more of our member in the following month. And by going straight through our guest, I want to cheer Stefano Montanelli and Professor Silvia Salini that are, we have the honor to interview the director and the vice director of the Master in Data Science for Economics at UnimAI. And so, starting very straightly from your stories, we would like to hear from you about your career, in short, in long, as you want. And the main topic of this episode will be why professors choose to be professors. And it's the answer cannot be as trivial as one can imagine. We will see it. So, please.
Okay, thank you for the invitation. I'm really happy to be here. And okay, my story, my career is quite easy. I started studying in 1996 with the degree in computer science. At that time, there was not the distinction between bachelor and master. There was only a 5 years degree program. And I started my PhD, I started as a PhD student in 2023. In 2003, sorry. And after that, I had some years as a postdoc researcher. And after that, I had a position as a researcher for 3 years, plus other 3 years. And then I get a position as associate professor. That is what I'm right now. Everything at the University of Milan, apart from some periods of visiting abroad. My history is all based on this university. And that's it.
Okay, in my case, we have this quite less the same age. I started my degrees in 1995. I started studying statistical science in the Catholic University in Milan. There was no faculty of statistics in Milan in that period. They opened one in Cocca in 2000, and I finished my degree in 1999. I'm the first in my family that graduated, so I think it's important because a lot of our colleagues was in family which I don't know, the graduation was one of the must, not for me. In my family, they have family activity. And when I was a child, my idea was that I would work in the family company all my life. So something changed in my path. And the change happens when I did my Erasmus program. Because I decided to get a degree in statistics because I did an experience connected to my family activity. And I was so proud about the things that I did in my last year of the secondary school. And I decided that statistics was for me by randomness. I think not by randomness, but was not decided before. And then I decided to have an Erasmus program in Scotland. I stayed in Scotland for 1 year, from 1998 to 1999. And there I realized that I could, because when I was born in Montaigne, I was in Milan, and my idea was, okay, it's not for me to be an academic, but there I did a lot of exam, and also I finished the one that was in my agreement, and I decided to follow in a course that was interesting for me. It was about artificial intelligence. And I followed this course. It was a PhD course, and I was able to do it, and it was a surprise for me. I became aware about my potential in this experience. And then when I come back, I asked to the professor that was coordinating the degrees that I want to do the thesis in artificial intelligence and neural networks was 1998. And he told me, okay, you can, but you are alone. Nobody here can help you. You have to do. And in this moment, just because I was aware about my potential for this experience that I did, I accepted. And immediately I was in crisis. I'm not able. What I did, I'm crazy. It's not possible for me to do this by myself. And I tried to do it, and so the things that changed my mind was the Erasmus, and then the fact that I went over my limits, and I tried to go over, and then I did the thesis, I passed, I complete, and I realized that this was very nice for me, that was my path, and after I decided to do the PhD. And this is my history. I did the PhD in statistics in Bicocca. So Cattolica and Bicocca, and then was a period in which all the statisticians in the University of Milan was in Bicocca because they opened the Faculty of Statistics. There was no statistician here, so I applied for a competition and I win. And so it's from 2003 that I'm here, 20 years. Yeah.
Hopefully that might work. Explain just that when you did the thesis, neural networks went so, I mean, you were alone because neural networks went so cool as yeah.
I was alone in the faculty of Strathclyde University in Scotland. The professor was a physician, was not a statistician, but I was so interested in this and I tried to do it. They asked me to use MATLAB, and in Italy, the Faculty of Statistical Science was connected to maths and was not so obvious to be able to program, to do coding. And so also this was a challenge for me because yes, in my secondary school I studied programming, and this was a very small things that happens in my secondary school, but made me able to do this. And I start using MATLAB by myself at the beginning, and then I get a lot of help. This is another thing. So professors that I met was generous. They helped me without, I didn't know why. I asked and they helped me, they trusted me. So this is sometimes what I try to do with my students. Was that you are not aware about you are not aware about your potential, but somebody else seeing you something that you are not able to see. This is really important for the future. So,
Here to talk.
Yeah, we are here to talk, so don't mind. For this time, it's not a problem because I usually say, Silvia, okay, Silvia, stop now, but not today, okay. And going more on the personal side of my experience, I share with Silvia the fact that also in my family, I am the first one that chose this kind of path. And
Graduate or the
graduate and then go for the academic career. But I like to focus now on the motivation that we go for a PhD program. Because I think that most of the motivations are based on the environment I found in the university. And in a sense, this is similar to the experience of Silvia, because I think that when you take this kind of decision, most of the motivation is because someone convince you not by asking you, but showing you the opportunities that you can get by working on research, on scientific research. So it is important that you find a person that that is a mentor in a sense, because it is important because you need a lot of you need to be very motivated. because the path is very long. You have a lot of years where you have to be evaluated, a lot of evaluations. Maybe later we can discuss a little bit about the path you have to follow, because there are a lot of steps. Each step is characterized by an evaluation. You have competition. So maybe from outside it's difficult to understand how many steps you have to face for arriving to a stable position or the professor position. Because before that you are a researcher, you are a PhD student, you are just a fellow. There are many contracts and many positions, and it is interesting to understand how you get to the end. Let's go the end, but it's an end only on the paper. And so it is interesting also on that side, but to me, the important thing is that you need to be very motivated, and the persons you meet are very important, at least to me, because they give me the idea that, okay, I didn't start with the idea that the academia was my choice. As a computer scientist, my first choice was to go in a company, small, large. It is not relevant, but the main idea is that, okay, after graduation you have to be involved in some kind of productive situation. And that's the point that stranged me a little bit, because I had some interest. I was fascinated by a lot of arguments that were active and actual in that period. The web, the idea that the web could be something revolutionary, the possibility to make machines understand when you speak. Consider that I'm talking about the early 20s. So there you did not have smartphones, the internet was very slow. So at that period, the idea that you could work on something that could change also the real life was very fascinating. And I had not the idea that in a company, in a structured company, I had the idea that there was a lot of pressure on production, and this idea was not attractive. On the other side, I had the opportunity to see people that worked on ideas, worked on concepts, worked on things that came from their mind, not from other that decide for you. So that's probably the main motivation. In addition to the fact that I really liked the people I had in the research group where I decided to join. Of course, my decision was not just on my side, because you have a competition, you have a so it's more or less 20 years that I am involved in evaluations, competitions, rankings. So this thing is more or less something that you need to be prepared to face if you decide to go for the academia path. We can discuss if it is right or not. We can have different views, fair or not. Probably it's not today the table where to discuss this, but that's what we have to face if you want to go in this direction.
It seems like both of you did not have an aim from the beginning of becoming a professor, but step by step you took this decision. I will do a question that might be interesting for most of our audience, which I think is students. What would you suggest for someone with taking this path and of just deciding what to do in the future? to follow his heart in a better way? Like there was some moment where you doubted your choices, or as you said, some moment where you understood instead what you really wanted to do when you said, I understood that I could do it. So what would you suggest for someone that is in the moment of taking good decisions?
Try to find challenge, because nobody can tell you what is the best for you. Only you. You have to do a lot of experience. And sometimes I ask students, I propose students a lot of experience just for this reason, because you cannot do before. I also have a period in which I was working in a company, because when I went my position, there was I don't in English, there was a block in the assumption in the public sector. So I get no salary. I won the position, but I get no salary. So I decided to work in a company. That was a statistical software house. Was a SPSS that was in Chicago. That period now is in IBM now. And okay, I decided to work for SPSS this year. And in that period, and in this moment, I have completed my PhD program, and I won a position in the university, but I had 1 year without salary, and so I decided to work. And in this, so it was a very good experience. I learned a lot because I had to teach the software, so convince company to buy the software, is a data mining software. And then I was in the training division. I have to teach to the company that program how to use it. And sometimes we use their data, so we did a sort of consulting. And I realized that this kind of life, I slept in some hotel every day. I was always around, so it was very nice. Also, the salary was very nice, better than in the university. But as Professor Montanelli said, it was difficult for me to decide to promote a product like the best in the world, to be so connected with the company. So I realized that, okay, I can do for 1 year, but not for my life. And this is, but only the experience can, and also the role that when you are young, you give to the money. You don't know when you are a student of 21 years, but when I complete my degrees, also my mind was thinking about family, I another. And so the role of money changed a little bit, but you have to do experience. So doing 1 period in a company, having a lot of money, I say, yes, I have money, but I'm not changing my habit. I'm not driving a Ferrari or going holiday. I'm going in my towns in summer. I don't know. I don't want to have other kind of holiday. So the role of money is a part of your growth that you have to decide what you experience. Depends on your goals. There is not just one decision, but step by step you can. And so I imagine myself in a situation in which, okay, I have some things that I want to do, but this salary is enough for my lifestyle. And this allow me the possibility to have a family, because the professor role guarantee that you can manage your time. And this is a very good benefit. I think you can, yes, you have to be here when you have lectures, but you can manage your time. You can work in the weekend if you want. And then you can have a day in which you can stay with your friends. I don't know, you can manage your time. And the other things is that you can have the opportunity to work in a different topic in terms of research with a lot of different people. If you have a group that you work very well, you can work. You can do a project for 1 year and then you can skip and change another group. This is not possible. And the role of the university professor is there is a lot of variability in the topics. You can each year invent new idea, to be involved in new project with multidisciplinary also, and also the kind of things that you do. Because the professors, I don't know if you know, but we are evaluated in a lot of things, not just in the research, also in the teaching. It is another skills that we needed to know, and also in the, I don't know, we have to get found from the European Commission of private companies, so we have to be able to get found, convince people to trust in your ideas, and also a lot of stuff, and this for some people is really important. For me, it's a very big challenge because I'm not able to say no, and so sometimes I'm involved in a lot of activities, but I like it.
It's a matter of putting your hands on instead of just maybe overthinking too much.
And also when you are young, research, now, okay, I have to take a master degree, I have more manager role, but even when you are very young, you should decide what kind of course, what kind of other activity you want to manage. You can be involved in, I don't know, some committee, some permission. Now the university permission. I have a lot of teachers that work with us in secondary school to share the culture of data with us. So we are able to do a lot of things. For example, we are young, probably they are evaluated at the beginning only on the research, but they like to do this kind of activity with secondary school students. And this is one thing that complete their work. And also the passion for the young generation. This is one of my students know that I like to stay with young people, and in the university or even if you are a secondary school professor, it's the same, but you are always in direct contact with young generation.
Makes you young forever, I think.
Yeah.
But since you managed management, I'd like to know about from Professor Montanelli, which aspects of the role of the professor, which way do you add to each of the, I mean, teaching, researching, so the technical things actually, did you meet something about that part, like the management
But
Nice question. Let me start with a joke, because my friends and my brother in particular always tell me that those so this is just a joke, but it allows me to introduce that professors are not only teaching. On the opposite, professors are teachers just for a little part of their time. And this is not a choice. This is something that is, in a sense, imposed to you because you have a certain amount of hours you can exhibit as working hours. We have for the research projects we are involved. And just a limited part of this is dedicated to that's to introduce that not just because the professor is not on the spot, not but because many other things we are required. And that's why we get late sometimes. But it's not an excuse, but just to introduce that you have research, you have mentorship, because we have PhD students, and they, in a sense, depend on us. They need some meeting, they need a lot of things. And then you also have administrative staff and managerial staff. There is another part that is relevant to me, and it becomes relevant when you get more involved in the building stuff. That is politics, because you have to be able to understand. There are a lot of choices, also strategic choices. In the sense that you will create political policies. You have to choose the strategy for research project, and you have to understand which is the best option. Sometimes the point is not just a technical thing, it's also an opportunity thing. You have to discuss with colleagues, you are in a team, you are
yourself that they will approve your project, otherwise you work a lot and after bye-bye.
probably this part is the one that takes me more my mental life. Okay, because I like the idea that the things are not right or left. The things are usually in the middle for a number of months. So it is nice to me that you have the others point. It's nice also to understand the points of the others. I like this. Probably I'm more Italian than the others, but I like this aspect. Even if, again, this is something that is not relevant at the beginning, because at the beginning, probably the attitudes you have to be strong enough is that for being a PhD student, an important aspect is that you are able to communicate with others and communicate what you find. So the idea is that you have to write papers. You have to demonstrate what your ideas are solid or not. So things are the ability to write in a clear way. Experimenting and showing that your experiments are strong and solid and can be approved. Okay, these are the things at the beginning, because you have to demonstrate that what you do is and many the others will try to convince you that they are not, and that's contractual. Okay, and you have to be very solid on your ideas and capable of defending them. And I want to say that there are a lot of human skills that need to be shown, because you have to be very able to
So, and do you think it's different in a great university like
a small one? I don't know, because
politics in a big university?
When you are many people involved, things are there are many interests that need to be so probably yes, but I was always in a large university and a very heterogeneous one. So here the situation is like this, but probably also in other places, because in a way or in the other, there are many things.
Stefano, can I ask you? Your description of the role of professor in the university, I think it's not the only one. So a lot of colleagues like we are very similar in this. You decided to very similar. So the part of debate with colleagues and also the collaboration, the role that we give to the other in our job is really high with respect to other, but exists also colleagues in this university, in a lot of in other universities in Italy and in Europe, colleagues that we know that stay always close in their office. They only do research by themselves, but they publish a lot, and sometimes they win position before the this is what happens. And so the one that you are mentioning is one role, but not the only one. some field, I think in some field, in some department, exist different profile. But this is what I, in my experience, I don't know.
Yes, of course. It's true also in my department, and I think it's true all over the world. But I think that in a sense, this is a value, in the sense that university should be representative of the many approaches to job and to life. And this is reflected also here. I also like to say that professors are humans as all the others, so you don't need to think to them as genius. We are not genius, and most of us are not so special on this point. We have many different capabilities. So there is the politic one, there is the technical one, there is the scientist, there is the managerial. I think that having all these kind of people inside the university is a value, because they can be attractive for all the students that show different facets of this. But on this, and I close, the point is that probably our recruiting method is not capable of capturing this. So in a sense, they are focused on just the scientific part, and maybe it's not so fair also on that side. Probably we should come back to a sort of university as in the beginning, where we have the idea that you have a mentor, and the mentor, in a sense, tries to teach an approach to research, an approach to be professor. That's to me very important, and you choose which kind is your mentor.
This is the plus for the role. The things that Professor Montanelli said is really true. You have the freedom to decide in which way you want to build your profile. It's not mandatory that all the professors perform in the same way in all the activity in which we are in. And if you are a very good scientist, in the sense that, and if you can organize your work according to your character and to your attitude, then this is a plus. You work in a company, you have a role, and you have to enter in the role. In this case, all the role and the class are important in the university.
It's better also in terms of the final output.
Yes, yes. You are very good in teaching. Probably you will coordinate a master degree if you like to do management activity. You can do it, but you cannot also decide to work more in a research project. It's possible. And if you perform very well, the university gives you a good evaluation on these. And so the fact that you can not you define your role before, but you can decide your role during your activities, and there is an equilibrium in one department, in one faculties, and if you can realize which kind of equilibrium is needed, and you can insert yourself according to your activity, your character, and this is a very good opportunity that is not in all the company.
Very easy doing podcasts with you too, because you also do questions. So it's but we got here prepared. So to prove it, Nicola has prepared one question.
Yeah, they tell me we have not much time left, so I will do my job a lot by doing adding 3 questions in one, and then you answer again. So and also changing a little bit the topic. Now, first of all, still remaining on the teaching aspect, what would you like to leave to your students, apart from practical and theoretical knowledge, and motivation, things like that? Also, what is the advice you would give to someone approaching the study of statistics and also the general field of artificial intelligence? And in this topic, what do you think that are the challenges that await us? the recent, the near future. You can.
Okay, very nice question again, even if more complex, but I will try to address at least something. What I would like to leave. I would like to leave the idea that the content is not the only part of a study. So there is more than what you learn behind the and that was more true some years ago when were not so organized. So you had to find what to do and how to succeed by your own. I understand that it is not a sort of quality parameter, because probably now here when you arrive, you know what to do, there are a lot of tools that you can receive that then it will give you. But I think that the capability to do things by your own and independent in a sense is another thing that you can receive. You should receive from the university, because contents become obsolete, can become obsolete at least. But the capability to succeed is something that
That's maybe the challenge she was talking about, right?
yeah. And I would like to leave my students the idea that the important thing is that you are able to arrange yourself and you are aware of what you can do when you are under pressure and when you have to perform. And about we are probably at the beginning of a sort of revolution. We have now a lot of tools and a lot of softwares that will change the way we study and the way we teach. We are talking about generative tools and AI. And probably we need to face this. I don't have answers or answers, but probably we will have to understand even more that you have tools that can help you to cover the content part. But the capability to understand what becomes the core point. And it is true for the students, and it is true also for the teachers. Teachers, it's a nonsense to prohibit the use of certain tools. It is better to become aware of and now probably it's a little bit unclear. Prompting models is not so easy. It's not clear what happens behind the line. It's something that we have to face, but we need to.
Yeah, I also wanted to ask you if you're scared about it, but maybe later if we have time.
Okay, so I'm not scared. I think that ChatGPT today is like the calculator in the hands of the accountant. The fact that you have tools that make fast some boring activity, it is not the skills that you need to be considered an accountant, Italian commercialista. I think it's the same. The problem is that there is no sort of training on these. So it's like when you start driving without the red paper. So you need a period in which somebody teach you how to do some things, the risk, the opportunity, how you can do, and after you can do. And I think that this is the same. Now it will be dangerous because I don't know, in the secondary school, a lot of students, I have 17, my son is 17, they use ChatGPT to do a lot of things, and the professor will know because but the reason is that they have no training. If they have training, some professors that are very skilled, they ask the student to use it. You can, but you have to re-elaborate the information and present in some way. And there are some professors that are training the student in this to use in a proper way these tools.
But maybe no one really know the best way to use it.
Yeah, they need to learn, and I think it's like the calculator. So if you look on Google and you found the period in which the calculator was invented, a lot of people were worried because they say, oh, it's the end of the math. The math is not the calculus. And the coding is not the one that ChatGPT produces. If you are not an expert of Python or R, yes, you can ask ChatGPT to do some things in the fast way. But if you are not able to do coding, you cannot do the exam with ChatGPT. This is what I do. And what I want to leave to the student, try to know yourself, because when you will have an interview for your future job, if you don't know what you like, what you don't like, in which you are able and in which you are not able, and it's normal that you are not able in everything. So when you do an exam, you have to ask yourself, I like this, is difficult or not for me? And at the end, you have a map of yourself. You have to understand who you are. This is the really important when your exam. Because otherwise you cannot promote yourself to others, and you cannot also, you have also some students tell me, oh, I have these free offers, what do you think, Professor? You have to recognize what is for you or not, and to be able to do this, otherwise somebody will impose a role in all the company. If you know yourself, you can try to design, to build your role in each work you will do. So it's really important that if you are not very good in some subject, doesn't matter. You can take 30 in some exam and 25 in other, or you can try to take 30, but know that for you this is not your element. And it's really important that you recognize that is not your element. I have some students that try to be excellent in everything. I think this is not so. They will discover later that they are not excellent in everything. And so when a student, some student, when I give the mark, I say 25, say, you are not happy. There is no judge in my, so it's normal that you are not excellent in everything. Nobody is excellent in everything. And you have to realize who you are. And in some things you will do the best. You have to know before finishing the degree. In order to
Thanks.
I think everyone will be inspired at this point of the, if they manage to arrive at this point, I think everyone will be inspired. So I want to bring the conversation back to the reality and to the ground by asking our two usual questions in order to end this conversation. The first one is pineapple on pizza. Do you agree or do you not agree? Are you a food Nazi or not?
No.
I have to try, and if I like, I have no value about what pineapple. I like it. Probably I never try. Probably I like it because I like pineapple. I like. Probably I like. I have to try.
From his expression, seems like Stefano doesn't know.
I disagree with the idea of pineapple. And I disagree that if I like A and if I like B, so if I like no, I can give you many examples, but we have no time. But I'm conservative, especially be something we can trust.
I do research. My main
So for me, outlier. So I'm a statistician. People think you are looking to the mean. No, I'm looking to the things. So in general, I like outliers. And so also I like trying new food, new culture. So this is very difficult. For example, you are a computer scientist in engineering, it's like you observe and you put. In my case, I try every day to introduce five things. So I like, I will try.
Maybe next time we'll do.
We have some people with whatever.
We need to try.
And the second question, second and last question. Yes.
Who is the supervillain and superhero? If you were a superhero and you
Professor Montanelli were a supervillain. I chose you as a supervillain because we actually experienced some powers. Yeah, we actually experienced some power of Professor Montanelli in the beginning of the podcast because he actually only touched the monitor and he died basically. So if you were a superhero and you're a supervillain, which superpower? Vabbè, la rifacciamo, poi tagliamo. So again, if you were a superhero and Professor Montanelli a supervillain, which superpower would you choose to have? Only one, and it's not over. It can be the same.
It's very difficult, especially to answer in a short time. But probably I would like the power to manipulate the others. Very
Like il mantello dell'invisibilità. Because sometimes my most difficult thing is to say, and the meeting is I'm not able to say no. Everything is fascinating for me. And when I was a child, I said, okay, but now I'm around 50 and I'm still in the same way. And so sometimes I want to be able to disappear. Just for a few minutes, not for a few months.
Two supervillains.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. See you the next time. Bye.